Hi, welcome everybody. Today is Monday, September 20th, 2021, and today is our agency call. We've got an awesome guest that Steve's going to be interviewing today. Before we jump into that interview, let's run through a little bit of recognition here. So, submitted premium for last week, 220 apps, 73 submitting agents, 252,390, a little bit low last week. I had a feeling that we're going to have a big weekend. I liked what I saw. Steve, I think you guys had a big weekend too. Thank you for always leading the charge. Steve Giordano, the Italian Stallion, #1 producer for the week, not only in Apex, but also FFL, 31,842. Chris Wasserman back in the saddle, 13,140. Lee Harrison, 11,892. Great week, buddy. Marina C, 11,156. Good to see a new name in the top 5. Jesse Parley, 8712. Steph Cover, 7784. Mario Guajardo, 7452. Michael the Kid Valencia, 19-year-old kid, 6456. Great week. Tierra Brown, 6140. Steve T, 6049. Michael Ronzio, great to be able to match a face to that name. Good week, buddy, 5772. Orlando No Pain No Gain, 5514. Julie Mung, 5311. Samuel S, 5,049. Brian W, 4716. Holly B, 4625. Jeremy Wright, back at it, grinding up in Oklahoma, 4456. Tony Fantoli on his part-time grind, 4,092. David M, 3859. And Gerardo G, 3768. 5 new writers. Congratulations to Regina C, Raul M, Choice R, Daniel G, and Josu M. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, buddy. Team issue paid, catching back up to where we need to be. Week 2, 439,455. Leading the charge, as always, Steve Giordano, 50,741. Mario Guajardo, the #2 producer this month, 17,729. Great to see you back. Sterling Lee Harrison, great month so far, 14,180. Julie Mung, 14,031. Orlando No Pain No Gain, 11,754. The Kid, 11,387. I'm so happy for you, buddy. Keep on that grind. Steph Covert, 10,704. Chris Wasserman, 9,766. Looking to have a big pop this next week on the personal production side. David Henson, 9,603. Great to have you back in the saddle. And Eddie Anderson rounding out the top 10, 9298. #1 group within Apex is Steve Giordano with Health and Wealth of 205,251. Next up is Third Coast, 59,851. Telos, 54,199, on pace to have your best month ever. Can't wait to see how this 5-week month shakes out. Steph Cover with Insure and Trust, 43,780. Last but not least, Jesse Parley with FFL Avenues, 42,295. Without further ado, let's turn it over to Steve, and cannot wait to hear what Luke Bohac has to say, board member of FFL Strength and Finance.
Thanks, Rob. Great week, everybody. Appreciate everyone. Luke, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. How are you?
I'm great, man. First, I want to thank you for being here for the grand opening. That was really awesome of you, so I really appreciate it.
No, I wouldn't miss it for the world, man. What an awesome day. What a beautiful office, man.
Thank you, brother. So I was thinking of like nicknames for you, and I think I want to nickname you Smooth because you just seem very smooth to me. Do you think that works?
Hey, whatever you want to call me, I'll answer to about anything coming from you, bro. So.
You're funny. So yeah, I wanted to start off. You are, give you the proper introduction, board member, FFL Strength and Finance. What did you guys do last month? It was like what, 1.3, 1.4?
Yeah.
That's incredible. Now, I don't know 100% of your backstory, so I want to get a little bit of that just for everybody. How you got into FFL? Were you in insurance prior? What kind of brought you here? Give us a little bit of the backstory.
Yeah, so I've been playing around with this deal for about 12 years. So I knew Sean and most of them. In fact, my second meeting was Sean's first meeting at the other company in Baltimore. So right around the same amount of time. And I just kept playing around with my construction company at that time. And I owned a gym. And so then I saw these guys go. I went to 2 other companies in between while everything was going down, and I came on this. It'll be 6 years this February that I've been here at FFL.
Wow, that's incredible, man. 6 years. It's awesome. So you get into it. You hit it pretty good on the personal production when you started off. What were some of the things for you in the beginning that we can kind of give to some of our new agents, some of the things that you had to face to kind of get yourself rolling? Because you had some pretty big years in your first couple of years, correct?
I did, yeah. The biggest thing I think is you guys need to follow suit on what the guys at the top, like you, Steve, and some of those numbers is crazy. Stephanie, Rob himself, you're doing numbers that are just absurd to the industry on your own pen. So if I can give any encouragement to those newer people or even people writing 20, 30, 40 grand and you're just not content, then ask better questions of those that are where you want to be. You know, what we have available here, you guys are leveraging like champs. The amount to write 80 and 100 and 120 and $150,000 on your own pen in a month. I mean, it takes work ethic, obviously, but it also takes discipline to your schedule because you have to fit a lot into tiny windows.
Yeah, it's a very good point. So now you started building, would you say right away, or would you say you did it a little bit, as you kind of got yourself going?
I just kind of played around with full transparency. I enjoyed being in the gym and training my wife, and I had other NFL players that I trained. So, we owned a gym called Extreme Training, and it was a private gym for members and trainers only. And, people like Colby Goodwin and Ben Edwards and these guys that played, Paul Morant that played in the NFL and some in the CFL. I trained them and enjoyed it. So I sold insurance to pay my personal bills because there was no money in the gym world, when you owned it. But I enjoyed that at that time more. But I was part of the group that was able to 2 years ago, coming up in October, for Sean to announce to a few of us in a small meeting, a couple meetings across the country, that he was going to do integrity and why. And I went home to my wife after that and I said, because, I'm a blended family. So my wife, Deborah, is my second wife. And I just told her, I said, you're not accustomed to seeing me work before the sun's up and the sun's down, come home after it's already down. But for the next 3 years minimum, I'm committed to, because best case scenario, we get to join the ranks of many with the integrity opportunity. And worst case scenario, we hit 3 or 4 million a month. And depositing $250,000 a month is not a terrible idea. So it's a win-win.
See, I love the way you presented that, because I think a lot of times with agents getting into this, getting your family involved, spouse, letting them know what it looks like to sacrifice the time, the money, everything. So I love that you brought that up. So I'd assume, because your wife is pretty awesome, I know her, that she was on board, had your back and kind of wanted you to succeed.
Absolutely. She always has had my back, whether I made good money or this kind of money, it was irrelevant to her. The biggest thing is, as you know, you got an incredible family as well. They can be your best cheerleaders, which makes you want to be home more than what they actually deserve. And the reason I say that is they deserve so much more that we can deliver by not being at home. But they make it so easy to be at home because my wife's my best friend. And, we have 5 kids together and my nephew that lives with us, so there's 6. And I would do nothing but enjoy to spend day-to-day time with all of them. But in order to chase what we're all chasing here, you and Rob and so many others, there's no way we could be at home and be semi-retired and be able to, 1, earn the respect, but or 2, earn the right to even have an opportunity with the integrity deal and what it does. Because getting the deal is just the beginning. That's not the end. A lot of people think that's the end all. No, that's just the beginning to have the opportunity to then crush the numbers even more so and leverage it so that when the stock and all those other things, that the long vision, so me wanting to be in the industry as an extra versus it being the only thing I'm doing changed when Sean, gave up, obviously, what he gave up.
Yeah, 100%. So now you're personally producing. How did you, in that shift, how did like your schedule look from just personal production to now building? What were some of the things you did? Was it more travel, staff? Like, what did that look like to make that shift for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Then we had to do more travel. And then because there was less lead opportunity, one of the greatest things that we have in this newer model is Sean and some of the other leaders have done an incredible job of diversifying our leads in abundance so that they can satisfy tens of thousands of agents. When I was selling, I was selling to build. So I had to give up areas that I had locked out to be convenient to newer agents that weren't willing to travel. And I was going, I live in Yorktown, Virginia. I would go to Indianapolis. I'd go to Chicago. I'd go to Kansas City. I did a lot of Midwest travel trips. And so, that's just what we had to do then. The animal's completely different today.
Yeah, very good point. And then from a staff perspective, how many staff did you kind of start with? How many do you have now? What does that look like?
I hired my first staff right before he announced integrity. So I didn't have one. I did because I wasn't running hard enough. Full transparency. We were running 315,000 barely SVP when he announced it. And so you can run 300,000 with, we had 20 unique writers and, 5 of us making any money. So it changed. I had to buy one. Does that make sense?
100%. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you've had a powerful impact from your warm market. And I'm pretty sure you've had some guys coming from the world of the gyms and, some of the bodybuilding stuff like Shannon and a couple others, Dean. When you started communicating it to your warm market, was it something that came naturally or was it something that you had to kind of get used to doing? Because a lot of people don't like to do that, hiring your warm market.
No, actually, it was easy for me because I knew most of them were overworked and underpaid. Even those that were I had a couple of them making 180, 185, 200 grand, but they were still not really appreciated. They were working harder than what they were getting paid. So for me, it was easy. I showed deposits and leaderboards and I kept showing them and I figured they could delete them or block me. But I was just excited, like, hey, the quality of life that we can get over here is greater than any other opportunity I've ever seen. And every quarter upon the quarter, it continues to prove such.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. So what I love about the world that you came from is you have people that are disciplined people, obviously big into health and they're translating that into being, top producers here. Because look, if you're disciplined doing this as you were and many on your team are, you're going to have a crazy amounts of success. So what are things now for your new agents, being a different world than it was when you got going and some of the travel you had to do? What are some of the things that you present to them when they're starting out to get them off to that fast, quick start in the first 90 days?
Well, one, we make more money so we can help more. So that doesn't suck. When I was getting in it, there just wasn't as much opportunity to be helped when it come to that. It was like, go to work, get paid. We'll show you how to spend it. But now here we're in position to help people, and it's not always monetary help. Sometimes it is, but there's just ways. I mean, the contract levels in itself, you can give such a larger contract level. Once you get to where we can give, you're not based in this business. Sean's made the contract level and the bonuses that you don't have to base it on spread to be profitable. And so you can give more money in a contract level to people up front that want to go to work type deal. And the other side to it is, again, back to the leads. It's about lead diversification. To think we can get brand new leads with work spots, which is ridiculous in itself, to spend 30, 40, 50% off on a lead that's already $9 to $11, it still blows my mind. And now having, like one of my favorite leads, I know a lot of you guys love the mortgage and I did as well, but they were so hard to get in abundance that I fell in love with the Facebook final expense leads. They were really easy. They're like $25 a piece. I looked at them at like 3 to 1 to mortgage. And so I always try to get people to new agents. My philosophy is new is better than old. Old is a filler. So I always like to see them be aggressive early if they can, and I'll match them sometimes if need be. But if they can get out there and get Facebook final expense leads and internet leads, and then learn the easier sell, the shorter sell to get the confidence in themselves, now leads, get paid quickly, and then transition into mortgage protection, And over time, if the availability of mortgage and they become more mortgage than they are other, then great. I believe if you run only mortgage leads only, you already have to be capitalized in order to do such, because the leads are going to cost you 60 to 80 bucks a piece. And that's fine if you're capitalized, but most people are not capitalized to the point that they can spend that kind of money early.
Very good point. So now when you're hiring, I know you're a very, buttoned up guy, and you're very straight to the point. What are some of the things in your interview with your new agents that are coming aboard? What are some of the things that you're talking about and how you're presenting the opportunity? And I'd assume probably weeding some people out who might not make it.
100%. Yeah. That's the greatest thing about this deal being fully independent is it doesn't mean that the person you're talking to might not be great. They might have all the characteristics, but their willingness or the position they're in, if they're not willing to move, you can't help that person right now. And so I might end that particular interview like, look, Steve, I feel like you could be really good at this deal. I'm just not so sure that now's the right timing of it. I think you need to go get a job and make sure that you have a job and consider doing this maybe part-time so that it's not the only thing you depend on. Because if it is, you've got yourself in a lot of pressure, and I'm not so sure. I'm not saying you couldn't, but not everybody can win early, like that when they have that much pressure on themselves. But some of the things that so I have 4 recruiters, 5 staff total now, and myself and those 4 recruiters, because I still recruit myself, I love it, is I make sure that we identify, have they ever worked leads or not? Have they ever done in-home sales or virtual, either one? And the other side is, do they understand that it takes money to make money and what that looks like? And then the 4th thing is their schedule. I think the biggest pitfall in recruiting is we get so excited about the bubble we live in at FFL that we forget what it was like when we weren't in that bubble. So we don't relate to them as much about where they're currently at. And most people are doing, they have a job. Even if they don't like it or the money's not enough, they're still going to keep that job until they learn to make money here. And so getting them to get a fast start here around what their current income source and their lifestyle is a big deal. You don't know if they're a single mom without asking. You don't know if they got help with their kids, at night, if they got young kids without asking. So you can tell them they're always going to be willing to go run X number of appointments and make, 20 and 40 and 50 grand a month. But does their schedule allow that? And I don't want to share all the dream, so to speak, without the rope. I say rope of hope all the time, and the rope of hope is real here, but we need to know what the length of the rope is. Like, how can we get them to participate early? The biggest thing about recruiting is people being excited and get put in the system, but then they're only emotional. And at the end of the day, they woke up tomorrow to go back to that same job they dread. And then we want to know, like, all these people suck. They don't communicate well. They said they were going to do this and they didn't do it. Well, maybe you didn't ask the right questions on what it looks like to get moving based on where they're at today.
I love that, because you're just weeding out the ones that it's not for everybody, it's not going to match everybody for what they're looking for. It'll match the ones that want to give it what it takes. But I love your thought process on it. What are some things in the way of, in your getting your agents started now? You talked about leads, and then they're getting out there. How do you kind of coach them on in-home stuff? Is it more like go to the house, do financial inventory, call us type of a thing? Or is it a little bit more training, ride-alongs? Like, how do you kind of work that when they're just getting started out into the field?
A combination. Number one, I love like any type of training from you or from, Porcina, Rob, any of the in-home stuff that you guys out there still killing it from 40 to 100,000 a month. Why would I teach what I did when I haven't been in the field in 2 years? And I think it's important to know where to send people. I pride myself in personality, Steve. When I'm talking to somebody and I kind of listen to their tone, I like doing Zoom recruits better than just over the phone, so I can see their body language, their face. And I try to pair them with what my perception of my early feeling about them, and then what some of you guys and gals that are killing it in the field are. Then I'm going to pair them to your guys' training, so it gives them a chance to win early. Something that I think is more duplicatable for them early. So I will certainly answer questions, but I'm more of a, because I'm not in the field anymore, I do specific scenario training. I might talk about how to find the money in the home, or, what it looks like for survivorship, how you find the money and explain survivorship, or, equity protection. But I'm not going to do a 45-minute training because I don't run appointments anymore.
Point. Gotcha. What would you tell someone who starts with you, or just in general, who's coming into this and looking at the business opportunity as opposed to just the sales opportunity? Because I'm assuming you're kind of you're looking for that, obviously, and finding who is and who isn't. But for like people on this call who are kind of like they're tipping their the toe in the water of building, what would you say to them in the way of like the reasons why and the ways to go about just building from day one, where I don't have a lot of money, but I'm interested in it?
Sure. I love it. The people in the beginning that don't want to build, I actually say this to them on an interview. I say, well, the first thing I say to get to pique their interest is I'm like, look, so in your case, you're a cold market. Is you answered an ad, Facebook, whatever that is. I know what it is. So I specifically say that. I'm like, now our comp plan is aggregate production. So you'll see on the comp plan, and I share the screen with them, I show them how there's a left side that goes up to 130, a right side up to 145. Either way, it's aggregate growth. So I'm going to keep running ads in your area like many other builders and leaders throughout the country in our company, because we have more leads and people in your community that need our help than we have brokers to serve them. So the fastest way for you to participate in that is while myself, my staff, and the company is training you. If there's, I don't want 100 or 200 people. This is not one of the other companies that have a 3-letter acronym. They don't have a marketing strategy. They look at building through your warm market. Do I think your friends and family need to have some of our products? Absolutely, because they're the best products in the industry. Do I think you need to recruit 100 or 200 people so I have people to go sell? No, I don't. We have leads for that. However, you probably know maybe 5 to 7 people in your community that you would enjoy being business with, that you think is professional and you respect and you have a relationship with. And if you do, then you're going to get credit for their volume, and it's going to accelerate your promotion through the contract levels faster by doing that. Now, one thing you would probably be consider hearing me say that is you'd be like, well, I want to wait to get started. I need to see if I'm any good at this. I don't know how to answer their questions, things like that. And that's perfectly okay. But in the beginning, I'm going to let them know that they don't need to call you and ask those questions. They can call you to celebrate the victories. But myself, my staff, and the company is going to train you and your 5, 6, or 7 at the exact same time. If they ask you a question, you got the answer, be truthful with them. If you don't have the answer, be truthful with them and say, hey, that's a great question. You need to talk to Luke, or you need to talk to, whoever.
I love that, because it takes away I want to build when I get going and I start selling a little bit, which is like the classic answer.
Right. Well, here's one thing I would say to that, Steve, is anybody who can go sell at a kitchen table, you would think that their morals and their ethics are in the right place because they know they got a life and death situation at the table, right? The reason they're more comfortable doing that is because nobody's judging them, because it's 1-on-1 or maybe 2-on-1, right? When you start having people depend on you and you think the scenario is about you, then you might not have the answer. You don't understand that the team is here to support you, not you support your team. It's a collective thing. It's unified at its greatest. I mean, think about this. You guys have been on some of our calls. I'm on your call. There's no financial interest in any of us helping each other out, but we do it all the time out of love and respect, out of the whole company winning, not just any one group,
Right.
Yeah. So I love it like that. And the other thing is it lets them know, I don't want them to come back to me down the road, full transparency, personally, say, why did you not offer me that position? I would have loved a builder. I want them to tell me yes or no, and I'm good to go, And from a box-in standpoint, you're great at this, obviously, in sales. Why I look at both sides of it exactly the same. If we can explain to the new partner the emotions that they're going to feel, why they wouldn't want to build, why they may not want to invest more in leads, why they're not going to pick up the phone because their palms are going to be sweaty and they're grown and they think they're going to be judged. When we don't judge them, they judge themselves, right? We tell them that emotion before they tell us that emotion. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, this is normal then. So I can go ahead and trust them and do what I'm going to do. If you wait for a new partner or a client, either one, to tell you what the emotion is, it's too late. because now you're having to sell them on why they shouldn't feel that way versus explain to them how they're going to feel before they verbalize it. And it's on both sides of the business.
Yeah. What I love about you is and I think it's just top producers and agency owners, the psychology of everything, like your conversations, your relationships. I just know, in talking to you and knowing you, it's all psychology based. And that always takes you, whether it's client or agent, to the place that you're looking for them to go, and ultimately they need to go for them to be successful. So I think it's a great skill that you have, that you've mastered, obviously. Give us a last thing to take it home, just something that you would tell, whether it's your new agents or any new agent who's maybe struggling, trying to get this moving. What would be some of the little things, nuggets that you'd give to them to have success?
Well, I'll wrap it up with this, Steve. I think that what we do is more about the trust and believability. When you start believing, you as a new producer, when you start believing in you as much as we believe in you, because we believe in you as much as we believe in ourselves, we know that anybody can do this deal. It doesn't matter your age. I talk about the FFL bubble, and its equality in our country is as great as any opportunity I've ever been part of or ever seen. It don't matter how old, how young. I mean, look, you and your mom both sell. What a great story, dude. The idea you can come out and do what you do and then hire your own mother to be able to go out there and do whatever she wants at any clip. It doesn't matter your age, your gender, your race, your preferences of life, right? So if I can leave anybody with this, we know how to make money here in an absurd way and quick. You came here, we're trusting you to do the right thing at the table by our clients, because they're not just yours, they're ours too. We generated the leads, we generated the contact. If you would trust us the way we trust you and believe in us as much as we do you, you would be able to move quickly without hesitation, and you'd get through the learning curve much quicker, and your success would be incredible. It would be much higher than you think you can, and it would be much faster than what you're experiencing right now.
I love that, man. Well, I appreciate you, dude. Anything that we can do for your team, let us know. And thanks again, and best to you and your family.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Feelings are mutual. Appreciate y'all. Love you. Be good.
All right, brother.
Be good, man.
You too. Well, I'm fired up. I don't know about anybody else. Rob, are you fired up?
Yeah, that was great. Luke's a stud. He should be called Smooth. Everything he says is like butter. I love it. I hope he took some notes. There was actionable things to do there. So that was great. Good interview, Steve. And let's get back on the phones and finish this month strong. If I'm correct, this is a 5-week month. Yeah.
It's actually a 4. I thought it was a 5, but it is a 4.
Oh, okay. October.
October's a 5.
Sick. We're well posed to blow it up in October. So let's freaking do that. Let's get that momentum moving.
One thing I just wanted to mention before you cut it off, one quick thing. So the FFL discount cards, I got a message today. Sorry, you might be on delay. I was talking to somebody today about the FFL discount card. Anybody who has not set up for it, it's under ffldiscountcard.com. ffldiscountcard.com. And it's a way for clients to save money on prescriptions. And it's also a way that you get paid. It's a crazy simple process to sign up. So you go on that website, you sign up at no cost. And then when you're with clients, there's basically a prescription card that you sign them up for. There's no cost. So even people you don't sell, as a good gesture to leave the house, and people will like me more if I start doing this and not being annoyed when I leave. I can sign them up for this, and now they'll get discounts on certain prescriptions, and then you'll actually get paid when they get discounts on the prescription. So, I mean, you can call current clients, old people you didn't sell, and everybody new. So ffldiscountcard.com. There's couple quick training videos, but it's a big push that you're going to see. And it's another value add for our clients.
Great point. Let's all do it. Other ways to save our clients money, put them in a better position and get paid to do it. That is fantastic. Steve, someone said, what was the website? Could you type it in there?
Yeah. ffldiscountcard.com.
Oh, easy. Right now. Simple, basic. Love it. All right, guys, let's get back on the phones, finish strong. Like I said, push that business through, and let's have a great rest of the week. We'll see you next week at 2:00.